Hello everyone, Atkpwr here with another How to Build the Divisions series with the 126th Gornostrelki. If you guys enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, consider checking out that Patreon linked down below for cool benefits there, and check out atkpwrgaming.com for merch and all that good stuff. Thank you to everyone who has supported me or currently supports me monetarily. It does make a big difference. Thanks a bunch. Let's dive right into this thing. So 126th Gornostrelki. This definitely is one of the more unique Soviet divisions. It's got a full suite of unique infantry to it. It's got a cool lineup of units and stuff. The issue is, as with many of these older divisions, is that it just has not scaled properly. Specifically, its infantry have not really scaled well with the rate of power scaling in the game. I'm really hoping in the upcoming patch that this division actually does get a touch-up. This is a division I actually really used to enjoy, and these days, it is so painful at times to use this division. I essentially don't play it anymore. It did really poorly in League, which doesn't surprise me. Some people still hold this division like it's really good, and it really isn't. Like, it just does not do what it needs to anymore. Again, it's a really cool division and a division I would love for it to be good, but it's just hard mode. It really is. But you can see here, the income I've chosen for this division is V for Victory. This is one of the few divisions in the game I actually think is kind of naturally inclined for V for Victory. There's not many divisions that you can say that for. But this division has several key units that don't come until C phase. But it's got so many fast, rushy units at the beginning of the game that can do a really good job of establishing early positions that you really benefit from an aggressive income. But if you go like Vanguard, then you lose out on the ability of using the really strong C phase units. So V for Victory kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Hopefully enough to crush through the opponent in A phase, hold out through B phase, and then once C phase rolls around, you use those new powerful units to help reestablish positions and carry your way to victory. Hence the V for Victory. So yeah, that's the reason for this income type. Yeah, I mean, it's probably better Vanguard at the end of the day because Vanguard is just vacuum-wise a better income, but this is way more fun this way. And you know me, I like to play balanced. V for Victory is the closest thing to balanced. I think it's closer than than Juggernaut, which is just like pain, essentially. So let's dive into this deck. Recon tab. You do have some really good units here. They're basically these two here. So we have the sniper, the Gornostrelki. It's a sniper. I mean, really good would be an exaggeration. This unit used to be really good back when snipers were rare and two-man sniper teams were kind of the best you got. Yeah, these guys were phenomenal. Now, two-man sniper teams are pretty underwhelming, but they do come in a truck that goes 100 kilometers an hour, which is definitely nice. And they are double vetted, which is not a bad thing, although I would prefer to have them single vet and to get 4 of them, me personally. Then we have the actual good unit in here, the Gornostrelki. This is basically a bigger Tanko squad with radio and recon. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal, actually. You get 10 PP shots and a Molotov cocktail here and a radio. I mean, this is a fantastic unit. Tankos are usually Ant-Man teams, so getting 2 more men, so it's basically an Avto squad size, but then gets the grenade, gets the Molotov. So you get 2 cards of these in A and B phases. This is honestly one of the best units in the division. Like, just straight up, this unit is phenomenal. The things we're not taking, the Kunaya Razvedka, it's just a bad rifle squad, and the Moskaya Razvedka, which yeah, maybe I could get argued into using, but it's still not very good. Like, the availability is not anything special. The actual loadout is meh. Yeah, it's got semi-automatic rifles. Yeah, it's got a couple submachine guns, 2 of which are not terrible submachine guns. But, like, what does this unit beat? Like, what situation does this unit outperform any other unit in the game? Basically none. At close range, they'll get killed by every CQC unit, and at long range, they'll lose to any long range unit. So even in like Yellow Forest, I mean, these guys, they got 8 SVTs and that's it. So yeah, it's not anything spectacular. If I was going to get another recon unit, I would just get more snipers in B or something like that, which I wanted to do, but I just really couldn't find the space. Now, into what is supposed to be the whole point of this division, which is the infantry division, the infantry tab here. So there's some really cool units here, but like I said, they just have not scaled well enough with the power of the game. And now these infantry just feel like they get clapped, absolutely clapped in every situation. So check it out, though. some of the highlights here. Gornostrelki here is a very solid unit. 15 points. This unit is pretty excellent. It's a 6-man squad with a grenade and 6 PP Shaws. And PP Shaws these days are very good. It's not. I love Soviet infantry with PP Shaws. They feel good when you use them. Do they feel Beretta level? No. But do they feel good now? Yeah. Like, you don't feel like your unit is horribly underpowered. It is a 6-man squad. It is smaller, but at 15 points, that is an aggressive cost. Like, it's hard to argue that this unit is not pretty aggressively costed and can do quite well at 15 points. So, yeah, like, is this unit phenomenal? No, but at 15 points, is it really good? Yes. Yes, it is. And they got fun hats. They have very fun hats on. Then the Gornostrelki DP, it's a triple DP unit for 20 points. I mean, yeah, it's only 6-man. I don't usually like these smaller 6-man squads, but, you know, at 20 points for 3 DPs, they do an okay job. They can get things out. Let's make sure I didn't mistransport these guys. Nope, this is the one you want. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, again, it's not, DP machine guns are very underwhelming, but having 3 of them makes them a little less underwhelming overall. Then we have the unit of the division, the Gornostrelki. This is the whole reason to play the division. So this is an 11-man team with 6 PP Shaws, 4 SVTs, and a DT machine gun, along with an anti-tank grenade. Now, at first glance, this looks pretty solid. I mean, it's a chunky-ish squad. It's a lot of submachine guns. It's got semi-automatic rifles. It's got a DT machine gun, which is better than a DP machine gun. Let's look really quick. Let's prove whether that's true or not. Do any of these guys have 1 DP machine gun? No, they all have 2. Right? Nope. Nope. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, let's try looking at this. Let's cut all the numbers in half. So it's 0.5, 10, 10%, 26, 750. And there it is. So it's the rate of fire, right? So this DT fires 415. The DP fires like 300 something. Less than 248 or 41 or 2. Or I don't care. I don't want to do the math right now. So yeah, it's simply a matter of who fires more bullets, and it's essentially the DT. Now, that's where the good stuff ends. This is the problem with the Gornostrelki. This is a true hybrid unit, similar to the Jaegers in 28th Jaeger, or even the Gebirgsjäger in 5th Gebirgsjäger. These units just lose in every situation. They just can't win any fight. If you put them in the woods, because they have 6 PP shots, you're like, okay, this unit must be pretty good at CQC. The 4 SVTs are not completely useless in CQC. So into the woods you go, thinking like, oh yeah, I got a CQC squad here. Well, then they run into any unit that's actually a CQC squad that has flames or a grenade or 10 PP shots instead of 6. And they just get wrecked. They just get absolutely slapped around by these units. And they're not very good. So you're like, okay, crap. All right, I guess I'll go fight with long range. They got a DT machine gun and some SVTs. Well, they only have 4 SVTs and 1 machine gun, which means they run into a Panzergren squad or even a Strelki DP squad, and they get slapped around again because they're not actually that good at long range. And you're just like, crap, what the heck is this unit for? And on top of that, the unit is 25 points. So it's not even very cost efficient at this cost. Like, it just doesn't do any of it. It's just one of those units that just sucks balls in all situations. Every time I see this division play, I'm like, oh, let's go watch a Gornostrelki get absolutely clapped, and that's all that ever happens. Like, this unit is bad. Like, depressingly bad. And again, it even got a bonus from the PP Shaw buff, and it's just bad. If this unit was 20 points, it would be a monster. So I don't know what you do with it. I honestly don't know how you make this unit not garbage. Make it 20 points, and I think this division is absolutely bonkers squared. But at 25 points, these guys are just bad. They don't win anything. It's really frustrating, actually. Moskaya Saprody here. This is a great pioneer unit. You get 6 submachine guns, 6 rifles, and a grenade. With 12 men, so a nice chunky squad. This unit is pretty phenomenal. This is one of the better units here in the division. B-phase, more Gornostrelki at that 15 points. Then we have the Moskaya Pakota. This is a great unit because this is a Strelki DP squad with more infantry. So it's a 13-man squad. Nice and big and chunky. This is your long-range unit that actually gets the job done. You get 9 rifles. A PTRD is a nice, like, oh crap, there's an armored car. Maybe you'll kill it, and they actually do it from time to time. So yeah, really great squad here. Love Moskaya Pakota. This unit still holds up relatively well. It's kind of what you want Strelki DPs to always be. Like he kind of is. Then we have the Gornostrelki here in B. Why do we not have an A phase one of these? Is because the RD tab has our RD leaders in it in A phase. So yeah, this guy's got radio. He's a nice chunky squad at 11 men. Got some semi-automatic rifles and some smoke to stay alive. C phase, we have a card of Gornostrelki. Why Atkpwr? They're terrible. Well, you don't really have anything else. You really need to survive B phase, so the Pakota really kind of need to be there. So in C phase, when we have our big income, we can at least spam these out. I mean, 2-on-1, these guys win most fights, but I mean, let's be real. Almost everyone wins 2-on-1 fights, but that's beside the point. And then we do have their actual other good CQC squad. This is the Moskaya Avto here with 12 Thompsons and an anti-tank grenade. These guys do shred really hard. Thompsons still do a lot of damage. They don't have the 150-meter range that a lot of other super strong submachine guns have, like Swomies and Berettas, but the fact is when this thing's in a green forest, they do slap pretty hard. So that's why bringing in C. Also, the availability is really good when you get up to C. Like it's double up to 24. So putting them in C phase actually gives you a crap ton of these. Is this the best way to build this infantry tab? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Could be tough. Most people put the Moskaya Avtos earlier, but I'm just looking for that C phase win. Tank tab. You don't really have much options here, but the options are really cool. You have the BT-7s, which are the fastest tank in the game. These little MFers can like literally just drive down the opponent's throat. They are so obnoxious. They can pick up so many transport kills and stuff because they're at the front so fast. And most people are not used to playing where the opponent has a tank level weapon up in your grill that early in the game. Actually, I should double vet these. I don't need 10 of them. Double vet makes them so much better. So yeah, these guys, phenomenal. You should absolutely be playing these at 25 points. You should almost just call them all out at the beginning of the game, just overrun your opponent. It's kind of obnoxious. Then you have the M3S, which is it's a Lee. It's a Lee tank. These things are phenomenal, actually. The stats do not accurately show how fantastic this unit is having two guns. You are literally firing 2 shots for every shot the opponent shoots. So despite the fact this unit has lower penetration on its guns, this thing absolutely decimates most targets. It's kind of ridiculous how good this unit actually is at 40 points. I would never, ever leave these at home. That's why they're in B and not in A, because I want 10 of them over 5 of them. Yes, people might say you're overselling this unit. And yeah, I mean, it loses to a Stug, it loses to things at longer ranges. But get this thing up close, it absolutely shreds. It's kind of hilarious how good this stupid little tank can be. And then you get the KV-85 in C phase. Finally, some real tank here. Nice 125 millimeters of armor. This is classified as a heavy tank, so it does have higher health as well. Double vet. Oh, it takes you way down. You don't want that. This is not a time to double vet. Maybe even a time to no vet, but you kind of need the vet. The gun is a standard D5T, like on all the T-3045s. So it gets the job done well. Is it a phenomenal tank? No, but it's got a good bit of armor. It can really tank against Stugs and Panzer IVs pretty well. Support tab. It has a phenomenally, it's got some great units. It does. It's expensive, though. It is very cost restrictive. Maxim here in A. You have the OB-25 that I forced in here. OB-25s are just great. They're like the best infantry gun in the game by a long shot. We have the leader here, Studebaker Snap, and then you have the dreaded and almighty ISU-152. Unfortunately, this can only be brought in C phase. So this is one of those units, again, that is phase locked to C phase. So this is one of the reasons to play V for victory. You want these bad boys. So surviving to C phase gives you access to these. If I could force anything else in, Dushka would definitely be an option. The problem is the availability is really low. The other option is the 50 mil mortar, which is quite good. This could help your problem with the whole your infantry are awful thing. The problem is you need all this stuff. Like, it's hard not to have any of these things. You kind of need the leader to get these infantry to veterancy levels that allows them to actually win a fight from time to time. Anti-tank tab. There's not a lot of options here. I'm not saying the options are bad, but the options you have are the options you have. You can see I've taken almost every card of stuff. We're taking the Gorno PTRS. This is a nice 4-man squad. Comes in a nice zippy 100km/h unit. So you could get some transport kills at the beginning of the game. It's not actually the point, in my opinion, for them here, because PTRSs don't straight kill transports anyway. So the unit, gets out and survives anyway. The double PTRS can do a relatively good job of killing armored cars, though. It's not the most efficient or deadly way to do it, but it definitely can get the job done. So these are very good at countering early German armored car rushes. Way better than, it's worth 5 points to get 2 PTRSs over 1 and 2 more men. There's no question about it. Then we have the dreaded 45 mil. These guys are phenomenal. You definitely need them in A. Then we have 2 cards of ZIS-2s, and ZIS-2s are very solid. Again, I'm a fan of these. They're not like the ultimate AT weapon, but I am a fan of them. They do quite well at 50 points. But don't expect them to be like laying out tigers and panthers and stuff at max range. They don't do that. They don't do that at all. AA tab, extremely limited. It has one of the best AA weapons in the game in here, though, in the form of the ZIS-12. This thing is phenomenal. It's a double 25 mil. This thing absolutely slaps anything. It's a phenomenal AA piece. That's why I'm bringing it in B, so I can get the maximum number of them. Maybe it should be an A so I can move it. I don't care. I want to have 4. I don't want these phenomenal units to be limited to 2. A phase, a 37 mil here. I am chancing it by taking it single vet. It's very ballsy, but it does function a whole lot better with a single veterancy over none. Arty tab. There's really only one unit in here super worth taking, and that is their lovely little mountain gun here, the 76 mil mountain gun. This unit is pretty phenomenal, actually. At only 60 points, it fires a whopping 12 rounds a minute base. So that's why we're vetting it, so it gets to 14 rounds a minute. It's got radio. It's got the infinite range. It even has a heat shell if you want to get it dirty on the front line. This unit is pretty fantastic. Get a whole bunch of these things rolling, and it is one of the most obnoxious things. I'm also pretty sure these don't get counter batteried. So if your opponent just hits counter battery, these do not get shot at, which might sound like a minor thing, but it is actually incredibly annoying for higher levels of play where you're already doing a million micro things and you do not have time to be calling in specific arty strikes on things. So yeah, this unit is pretty fantastic. I have all 3 cards. And then I have the leader in A phase. Things I'm not taking, 82 mil mortar, but truthfully, these guys do better. If you actually look, and let me be very clear about this, the 82 mil mortar is not as good as it looks on paper. It looks like it fires 20 rounds a minute or 17 rounds a minute. It absolutely does not. It fires 9. Remember, it's showing you the fastest firing thing. So smoke fires 17 rounds a minute. The HE fires 9. So it doesn't actually like blast out. This thing actually fires significantly faster with veterancy, almost twice as much. It's not twice as much, but getting close to twice as fast as the mortar. So there's absolutely no reason to take any mortars in this deck, really. And then you have the 203 off map. Yes, the 203 off map is quite good, but there are only 2 calls-ins on it, which is pretty rough. And it's very expensive, and I'm just not a fan of off map, as you guys know, but I am legitimately now not a fan of off map just in the fact that it's very expensive, and if it's not used perfectly, you will lose calling in your off map. You are just putting yourself in a massive point hole, and I love it. Personally, I love it. I think that's exactly how it should be. But you know, for me personally, I don't believe in myself enough that I'm going to call in the correct spot for this 203 and follow it up in the right spot. Finally, the air tab. Pretty big. It's a very chunky air tab. Is it very good? It's one of the better Soviet air tabs, I would postulate. So what we're calling in here, we have the Hurricanes Mark IIBs. These are mediocre at best. As a plane, the actual plane is pretty solid. It comes in 430 kilometers an hour. The most important part, it has medium resilience. It's got pretty good availability at 246. Is it 6 or 8? Yeah, 246. It's only 90 points. I mean, overall, the plane is well costed, efficient, and actually can survive. The loadout kind of sucks. It's only 6 82 mil rockets. Each one of those rockets only do 2 damage. So if you do the math, in order to kill a 10 health medium tank, you need to land 5 rockets. It's very abnormal for this plane to land 5 rockets successfully. So you're going to almost definitely have to make 2 runs with these Hurricanes to kill a tank. But you're only spending 90 points on the plane, and it has medium resilience and relatively good speed. So it is a good plane from that perspective, and it actually is a little dangerous. So if your opponent just like straight shoots a fighter at this thing, you can just head on the fighter and shoot down a lot of times a bad resilience fighter with this plane. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's not a great AT plane, but in terms of like if you're forced to pick horrible AT planes, this is one of the better ones in terms of bad AT planes. Then we're bringing the Boston 20C here. This is the one with the 8 100-kilogram bombs. Not my favorite, but you get 2 availability. It's got medium resilience, goes faster than the Hurricane. So it's a pretty zippy plane. It can last a long time if you're careful with it. It's only 105 points, so you call this in early with your V for Victory income and try to get as much value out of it as the game goes on as possible. Then we have a Yak 3. This is one of the better Soviet fighters because it actually flies pretty fast at 625 kilometers an hour. The loadout is awful at 120 mil and 2 machine guns. This thing really struggles to shoot planes down. It really does. And it also has bad resilience. Like, this is not a good fighter. Like, don't get me wrong. But it is better than a lot of the other Russian Yaks, which usually have this same horrible loadout and bad resilience and only go like 550 kilometers an hour and they can't catch jack crap. So yes, this is better than the average Soviet fighter. That doesn't make it good. It's very expensive at 110 points for this. But again, better than being stuck with like this 450 kilometer an hour. Is the P40 worth it? I mean, the P40 does way more damage. It's kind of hilarious how much more damage it does than this. But I find the 540 kilometers an hour pretty painful. It has a really hard time catching up to like almost anything, which is why I'm not taking it. There's an argument to be made to take the P40. I could go either way on it, honestly. B phase, we have 4 more Hurricanes coming in because we're probably going to need them because we're going to have to call in 2 at a time. And then we have C phase, the big Boston car. Now this thing cracks. Cracks hard. 3 500-kilogram bombs. This will clear out most enemies at a still very respectable 390 kilometers an hour. This is a pretty darn good plane. What we're not taking, the Recon. It's not that I'm against Recon. I just didn't find space for it. But yeah, if you want a Recon plane, this thing's pretty good at medium resilience, 500 kilometers an hour. Definitely not a bad Recon plane. We're not taking these fighters for the reasons we talked about before. The P40 is the only thing then I really go back and forth with. I definitely would not take this one with the heavier bomb because its availability is awful. And this thing actually has almost the same bomb loadout, and you can toggle these off and get 2 bombs runs out of the same plane. That's really strong when that happens. My problem with the P40, it's 110 points, so it's a little expensive. And the bad resilience fighter bombers to me aren't very good, and this one is not fast enough. It's not like the Yak 9s or whatever, or the BF 109s that have at least really fast speed to get in and out, or the Focke-Wulfs with the medium resilience. It's just missing those things. So for me, I find these just end up dying a lot of times after their first run, and that really sucks. Now, there's a very good argument to be made that you should be calling these in instead of the Bostons. It's your choice. These will more consistently kill their target and allow for that double kill, which is really cool. And technically, they have the ability to shoot down enemy planes. They have those 6 Brownings, so it's not like they can't. But I just feel really bad when I call in this 110-point plane and it gets shot down in the first run. Like, it's very crushing point-wise and soul-wise, which is why I decided to take the bomber instead. And look, like, it's literally a 40-kilometer-an-hour difference in speed. That medium resilience, though, is honestly, like, the most massive thing. So, 126th Gorno, really tough division these days. Fun. It's cool. It's got some really cool tools. It's not that it can't win games. I'm not putting this in D tier, but solid C tier at this point. If they find a way to buff this, the only way I could really think of is again, either I don't even think helping the slot cost really helps, because the slot costs are not that crushing. The support tab's the only one that really kind of sucks. The AT tab kind of sucks too. But the infantry, the Gornostrelki are just bad. Like, it's just not a good unit anymore. Oh, sorry. It's just not a very good unit anymore. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and consider checking out that Patreon link down below. Thanks a bunch, guys, and have a fantastic day.